Osho said, if he dies, if he leaves the body, find a living master to be with. My understanding of that is dead masters don't kick butt.
Why do you love Osho?
Because I love. I can talk more about my gratitude to him than the love, because the love can't really be spoken about, it just is. A gratitude, how do you thank somebody who helped set you free? How can you possibly repay them? So when I think about Osho, I feel so much gratitude, always, and so much love, always. I don't think people actually realise what someone who is awake, who is a master, has actually sacrificed to be a light so others may see. When coming towards enlightenment, there's no wanting enlightenment anymore. As a matter of fact, there's no desires at all. There's just nothing. But there is a kind of a choice, because you know that you're moving towards your own death, the I, that is. And then you know that there won't be anything after enlightenment for you. It's the end. You'll be gone. And you get a choice in a way. Do I keep moving towards enlightenment where I will no longer exist? Or do I not? Do I hang out here a bit longer and play? Because if your consciousness levels are that high that you're ready for enlightenment, you won't be suffering anymore, you'll be at peace. Life will be quite beautiful. And so this choice presents itself. Do I go for enlightenment? What's in it? There's absolutely nothing in it for you as an I. You don't have a future. You no longer even have a past. It's all gone. So why would you do it? And the answer comes back. You would do it because you are experiencing love and compassion for everybody you see. And you do it so you may become a light, so others may see. And Osho was a light, so others could see. But to become that light, he sacrificed himself. He died. I remember when I first met Osho personally, there was no one there, just total absence. And it was the first time I'd ever met anyone without them being there. It was like you could fall into him. There was just nothing there. The chair was truly empty. And I realised there was two types of people on the planet. Those that were awake and those that were asleep. And he was awake. But I say the word he, But there was no he there. There was nobody there. The chair was empty. In enlightenment, you don't make it. You as an I can't come to that party. You die. You disappear. And if you come back, well, enlightenment's over. It was only a satori. But if you don't come back, and awareness stays aware of itself, that is enlightenment. So he sacrificed his life so I could see the flame that he had created, the vehicle for higher consciousness in himself and around himself. And he taught me how to die for truth. He taught me how to surrender for love. So the gratitude for him is immense. How do you repay someone who has helped set you free? Not possible. The best thing you could possibly do to repay Osho, if you are one of his sannyasins, was to wake up and be a light so others may see. Because that's what he wanted.
Despite that gratitude that you have for Osho, is there anything that he did that you disagreed with?
Heaps of things. He was an explorer. He tried so many different ways to help people learn acceptance, let go, towards surrender. And some of those things worked and some of them failed. But he never stopped trying. He was an explorer. He was amazing. So many different methodologies used to get people to learn surrender, learn acceptance, learn to let go. Because ultimately, if the mind has learned unconditional surrender, which is a non-doing, it has learned everything it needs to learn to facilitate enlightenment. That's it.
You mentioned interviewing Osho and you realising that there was no one there, and there was two different types of people on the planet. How did that change you after that interview?
Well, first of all, I'd never had someone stop my mind by their presence. And as I was asking my questions, my mind stopped working. And so I would read the question, and I could read one word at a time, not knowing what the next word meant or what connection it had to the word I was saying, and not in any way remembering what I just said. And that was the first time that had happened. I was blown away by that. And I realised that, wow, this guy, I had so underestimated what this guy was about. I had no idea of what enlightenment was. Within 2 years, a year and a half of that interview I had with him, the satori started. I started finding myself as the universe, without an I. And I put that down to the time that I spent with him. He opened me right up, changed my whole life direction.
Lastly, there are millions of Osho sannyasins who never met Osho today. Do you have a message for these sannyasins?
I can only echo what Osho said, because I believe it's true also. Osho said, if he dies, if he leaves the body, find a living master to be with. My understanding of that is dead masters don't kick butt. And so when he died, left his body in 1990, I gave up on enlightenment because I didn't think there were any other living masters on the planet, actually. And decided to go for heart, or more solidly for heart. Before I'd been going for enlightenment. And I decided to go for heart, which is a little different. To perceive heart, you just have to be wide open. And so I practiced openness earnestly and continued the practices of meditation and self-inquiry and whatever else I learnt from him. But the practice of openness, if you do it correctly, you have to remove all the obstacles that are in the way of openness. And in removing all the obstacles that are in the way of openness, you are removing all the obstacles that are in the way of enlightenment. He's a very beautiful, beautiful man. I think he was very misunderstood in a lot of ways. First of all, I don't think the world understands what enlightenment is. I don't think the world even understands what higher consciousness is, because most of the world is locked in lower consciousness, dreaming their life away, thinking they're living in reality when they're really living in their heads, thinking constantly. Through his meditations and the practice of them, I discovered no mind, and I liked it. Just being here without a thought is quite beautiful, it's quite brilliant. Just being aware of what is real. And everything is real except what you think. It's quite nice, it's peaceful. I don't think it's very peaceful to live in your head, thinking constantly, usually problem solving. He also gave me the name Vishrant, which means relax or restful. And I took it on as a sadhana. A sadhana is a teaching. Because I was not a relaxed guy when I really met him. I was a high-flying businessman. And I had to learn to relax. And so I made it a point that I had to learn that. Because it is a relaxed mind that supports higher consciousness. It is a relaxed mind that supports the perception of love. It is a relaxed mind that supports the potential of enlightenment. So much to be grateful for. Thank you. Any questions? Any statements? Does anyone have anything they would like to chat about? Or challenge. If you wanted to make a challenge, that's fine. Hello.
Vishrant, when I first met you, my life has changed, and I was in a different world. And these days, when I want to
Yes, you have become my reluctant sannyasin. Hello.
Hello. So, before I met you, I felt like I was relatively relaxed until I see you as comparison, as the true relaxation. And yeah, how do I know when I'm truly relaxed?
When nothing is moving. When the body is not moving, when the mind is not moving, then you are truly relaxed. Some people only experience that, and without consciousness, in deep sleep. How about experiencing it while you're awake? It's not a bad thing to practice full relaxation while being awake.
How did you practice that? As that was your sadhana?
Let go, let go, let go. Hang on, I can repeat that. Let go, let go, let go. That's how you practice it. There isn't another way. You have to practice. You can't think your way into a relaxed state, you have to practice it. As a businessman, I was like a V12 motor, running on 12 cylinders all the time. What I learned was that I could run on one cylinder all the time. I could still go to 12 if I wanted to, but in running on one, I could be very relaxed, putting the least amount of effort in to getting the most out. Anything else?
When you were running on one cylinder, did you feel like you did a lot less in terms of production?
When I was running on one cylinder, I became pleasant to be around. As far as production's concerned, I'd given up caring about that. I had thought that being successful in business and owning houses and cars, and I thought those things were important until I discovered that the only thing that's important here is love, unconditional love. And to find love, you've got to slow down. To see through the mind, you have to slow down. To be with another human being, you have to slow down. People who run fast miss everything. Anything else?
Thank you.
Okay. Hello.
That's why when I want to take sannyas.
I've been waiting for you for so long. I'd love to accept you as a sannyasin. We'll find you. I really like your name, but you've had it too long. So we're going to give you a fresh start. I'll find a new name for you that'll have a meaning in it that'll help you towards higher consciousness. We already have a Rajesh with us anyway. Okay.
Vishrant?
Yes.
Hello.
Hello.
Just a lot of gratitude, thank you. Helping me get out of my head.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I even wonder if enlightenment is even a goal I should have.
I think higher consciousness should be the goal, really. And you raise your consciousness levels by watching your mind. But if you want to have a beautiful life on the way through, you live the way of the heart, which is the way of kindness and generosity. Up to you. Yes.
I was just wondering of some ways that I can work on myself when it comes to anxiety and how I can just accept.
That sounds intense.
Is it something that can be broken down into stages?
Well, you sound like a student. You want stages to break it down. What I used was the breath. On the outward breath, I used to let everything go. And when you let everything go, it's relatively hard to be anxious. Because anxiety is usually related to some future projection, something not working out right or going wrong. But when you breathe out fully and you let everything go, you can come back to this moment and be free. And so I made my outward breath my friend. And any time I found myself in any sort of stressful situation, I'd use my breath by breathing out and letting everything go. You'll find that most people who are anxious are holding their breath to some degree, breathing shallowly. Breathe out fully and let everything go. Every time you remember. Okay? Okay. Hello.
Hello. My family is in lower consciousness. I know you mentioned that when you were a seeker, you left a lot of friends behind as your consciousness levels rose.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, what was your attitude towards your family? Do you still take care of them?
Unfortunately, you can't take people with you. You can't drag people into higher consciousness. They have to want to go themselves and they have to work on themselves. And as your consciousness levels rise, you'll find you'll want to hang out with people who have consciousness levels the same as yours. You don't want to be involved in lower consciousness anymore. And so people do get left behind. It's just the way it is. And if you're involved with people who are living in lower consciousness and you start raising your consciousness levels, you will start to change. And that will make them feel insecure. So they'll try to drag you back. This is just the way it is. Higher consciousness has to be paid for. If you've paid for it, it's not worth losing. You keep going, you keep climbing that mountain of consciousness. On that note, when awakening occurred, I was married and had 3 children. But the man part in my mind, the part that was a man, the part that was responsible, did not abandon my wife, did not abandon my children, stayed with them, protected them, raised money to support them. But after about a week, my wife noticed that I was no longer there, that Vishrant had left the building. But I stayed with them for another 15 years until other things changed. So they weren't abandoned. And all three of my children got involved with higher consciousness, got involved with satsang. Zorba, hello.
Hello, Vishrant. You often you speak about percentages as well, like making a difference, like what we eat, and also.
I can't understand you. I'm sorry. I'm not hearing you. What are you saying?
You often talk about percentages that make a difference in higher consciousness, like what we eat, and, and how we dress as well, or the colors, things. Could you say why they're important?
Anything that you can do to raise your consciousness levels should be done. There are things that are more important than other things. I think what you eat is very important. I became a vegetarian 40 years ago. It was really good to do that. That was a result of being with Osho. I think the thing that really helps the most or affects you the most in the quest for higher consciousness is actually the company you keep. Birds of a feather tend to flock together. And so when I was studying naturopathy and psychotherapy, I hung out with doctors and psychologists because they were the right people to hang out with while I was actually training to be a naturopath and psychotherapist. Before that, when I was in business, I hung out with successful businessmen. I hung out with the high flyers. I think it's very important to hang out with people who are further ahead than you, if possible, if you're interested in climbing the mountain. And if you're not interested, well, don't. But the people you hang out with, the company you keep, is probably going to affect you more than anything else that you do. Anything else?
Yes. When you you just said you were hanging out with doctors and psychotherapists while you were doing that, but you were into higher consciousness as well, weren't you at that time? You were.
Yes, and so were they. They were doctors who were sannyasins and psychologists who were sannyasins of Osho's. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, Vishrant. Thank you.
Thank you, Zilba. Yes, Mahan.
Hello, Vishrant.
Hello.
There's some questions from YouTube viewers.
Yeah.
KJ asks, what makes your presence happy?
Well, I don't think presence can be happy or sad. Presence is just presence. Presence is produced by awareness being aware of itself. It doesn't have the qualities that the mind has. The mind can be happy or unhappy, but presence just is. Anything else, Mahan?
Yes, Gold Lotus asks, do you think Osho's extreme openness as an enlightened person also left him vulnerable and undefended against deceiving people and ultimately his arrest?
Yes. Anything else?
Yes, and Narasimha asks, what is your opinion about investigating if there is a doer or just deeds as suggested by Ramesh Balsaka?
If you don't investigate your mind, nothing will change. It's that simple. I don't care what Ramesh Balsekar said. If you do not investigate your mind, nothing will change because you will not change it. Anything else?
That's all. Thank you.
Okay. I think Advaita Vedanta has an awful lot of holes in it. Hello, Rajesh.
Hi, Vishrant. Yesterday I went for lunch with a friend, and I see that I always run agendas, expectations, desires, and I wanted to ask you, how can I be with women that I fancy without running agendas and all other stuff?
How can you not?
Okay, good point.
So you're going out with women. What's your reason for going out with them?
Well, I like spending time with them, and, well, the obvious one, sex.
And so how would you go for sex if you didn't have that as an agenda?
I wouldn't, yeah.
Right, so the question's been answered. Anything else?
No.
Thanks, Rajesh. Hello, Addy.
Hello, Vishrant. I wanted to ask you, I will just read it. Is it dangerous or not good for beginner's mind to try to form theories? Never mind.
Okay, so understanding is the booby prize. A lot of people approach spirituality by trying to learn their way to higher consciousness. It will never, ever, ever happen because knowledge doesn't raise your consciousness levels. Borrowed knowledge, that is. So don't bother. Witness the mind. Just develop a silent witness that watches the mind and watch the mind. That's the key. Just watch the mind. See what the little devil does. Without judgment.
Oh, I want to ask. No, I want to ask questions so bad, but my mind is not working.
Oh, yeah, that's what happened to my mind when I spoke to Osho. My mind just vanished. Fortunately, I had all my questions written out so I could go back to them, you know.
Yeah.
I think I had 12 questions or 13 questions, and I didn't ask the last one. I was going to ask him the question, who am I? But it seemed irrelevant after I realised there was no one there. Anything else, Addy?
That's it. Thank you.
Hello, Willow. Hello.
About my name, Willow. It's beautiful and it's really what I really want, to be free. So what would be the best for me to practice to get more free?
Okay. So I think the weeping willow would be best. Because Willow, you have so much sadness inside of you. And really it needs to come out. When I was with Osho, we did a thing called the Mystic Rose, which was a 3-week meditation. The first week was laughing for 3 hours every day, from 6 in the morning till 9, 3 hours of laughing. The second week was crying for 3 hours in the morning for a week, from 6 till 9. And the third was sitting silently, watching the breath. And the first 2 were just to help people purge all the crap that's inside of them, everything that's been repressed. And you have a lot of sadness, Willow, so I think you should become a weeping willow. And let some of that sadness go.
I did this one in India like 15 years ago or something. And at that point, I really couldn't cry. So for the first week, I was almost throwing up every day because I couldn't cry. So I learned of, it comes here in satsang, but otherwise it's quite busy with the kids and with work and stuff, and I don't really let it out.
Yeah, so it's still there. So maybe it's time to let the prisoners inside of you get free. And we heal the wounds of our heart by allowing ourselves to feel them. And crying is a beautiful way to let it all go. A gentle tear.
It comes here in satsang, but otherwise it's quite busy with the kids and with work and stuff, and I don't really let it out. So maybe I have to.
You have to be gentle with yourself. You have to be kind with yourself. You've been quite hard in your life. You've been quite tough. Yeah. And now it's time to become gentle and kind to you. And in the gentleness and in the kindness, the tears will come, because the sadness is there.
Yeah, the sadness is there. I never really allowed myself to be this victim. I really hated the victim inside.
It's not about being a victim. It's just letting whatever is held inside out. That's all. It's like letting the prisoners go that you've been holding prisoner inside yourself. You might call them old friends, but they're very sad and they want to leave. See, if there's a willingness to feel it, it can go. But there has to be a willingness. And for me, I called it a warm welcoming. And so it was a warm welcoming. It was a warm okaying. Whatever appeared was okay. And it was warmly okay. Yeah.
Would I know 1 hour a day with sad music and try to cry would be a good practice?
Yeah, whatever works actually. There used to be a series on television in English called Touched by an Angel. It's a series, and I used to let people watch that, and that used to bring up their stuff usually, because it's real tearjerker stuff, you know. Touched by
an Indian.
Not by an Indian, no, by an angel. By an angel. No, I think Osho was Indian. I think he was an angel.
Thank you.
You wouldn't be hearing this message if you weren't ready for it, darling. It's time. And circumstances of your life give you quite a few triggers for you to feel your sadness.
Yep.
Don't be tough. Be gentle, be kind. Okay? Okay, Weeping Willow.
Thank you.
Yes.
Can you tell the difference between warm welcoming and cold welcoming?
Yeah, I can. Warm welcoming is, you are so welcome here. I love you being here. Cold welcoming is, come in. If you must. Are you getting an idea? Hello, Abahi.
Hi, Vishrant.
Hello, darling.
Such a beautiful topic today. I feel so much gratitude for you.
Well, you're an Osho sannyasin, aren't you?
And not like I didn't take any sannyas, but I just read and listened to him.
Ah, you didn't take sannyas, right? Huh. Taking sannyas is like you get born again. You get another chance to have a different life. You can leave your old life behind and start a new life. You leave your old name behind and you start a new life with a new name. And so I'm, in body age, I'm 69, nearly 70. But I only started my life 40 years ago when I took sannyas with Osho. And I got the new name, Prem Vishrant.
Did you know that taking sannyas would be such a life-changing thing for you?
No, I was following something else. It was like an inner knowing that just knew to be Osho's disciple. I just knew that I needed to go and be with him in America when he was there. I just knew. And I knew I needed to take sannyas. There wasn't any debate in my mind. There was no thought about it. There was no thought of the consequences. I just knew it was, I needed to do that. And so it was really odd for me because I was wearing three-piece suits and all of a sudden I was wearing orange and beads. And my staff, they didn't know what to make of it. They thought I'd gone nuts. And some of them objected, so I put up 6-foot-high pictures of Osho in every office. And there was a lot of offices. The thing about success in any endeavour in life, whether it's higher consciousness, going for the heart, going for enlightenment, being successful in business, being a good sportsman, whatever, music, whatever, is totality. Totality rules and partiality fails. Ultimately, you've got to give your life totally to beingness or truth or God, whatever you want to call it. It's a totality. Someone who's awake has operated out of totality. Everything for God and nothing for you. Or everything for heart and nothing for you. They're the deals that work. Anything else, Bay?
That's all, Vishrant. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hello.
Hello. When you first came into contact with Osho, I recall you saying that you couldn't really feel him very strongly, but there was a period where you didn't see him, and when you came into contact with him, he blew you away. And I wanted to know what happened in that time.
Kundalini and dynamic every day. Encounter therapy for 4 months. A lot of opening up because I chose to be with his main therapist in mystery school, and I got opened up. Because the only reason I didn't feel him in the first year that I went there very strongly was I was a bit too closed, and I couldn't get within 𝐸𝐞𝐢 of him. You couldn't get within 200 metres of Osho back then. There's too many people around him. Getting right in front of him within 6 feet, man, it blew my head off. Anything else?
Thank you so much.
Hello, 𝐸𝐬𝐡𝐫𝐚𝐝.
Hello, Vishrant. Who am I?
Find a mirror and see if you can work it out for yourself, mate. What you will work out in looking into a mirror is that who you are is not outside of you. You actually have to look inward to find your true nature, and not inward to your mind, inward to that's aware of the mind, the thing that's behind the mind. And if you look there enough, an accident can occur and you can find yourself as truth. Anything else, 𝐸𝐿𝐻?
Thank you.
Thank you, 𝐸𝐿𝐻. Hello, Jay.
Hi, Vishrant.
Hello.
I just wanted to say hi and thank you. I don't really have any questions.
Thank you. It's nice to see you, Jay. Yeah.
Pleasure to see you.
Hello.
What would you recommend to go from cold welcoming to warm welcoming?
Choice. Choose warm welcoming, or you won't. It doesn't work actually. Cold welcoming doesn't work. Cold welcoming is still closure.
Yeah, it feels like closure.
It is closure. Warm welcoming is openness. And it's only really in openness that we allow ourselves to feel what's there. We can't do it while we're resisting, while we're closed, while we're defended. So I discovered my heart, my first time that I discovered unconditional love, in absolute openness. And it blew my mind. That blew my mind. It's like, wow, there's something here that's more valuable than success. Let's see, I found that in 1987. I'd already been retired for quite a few years. I retired when I was 28. And I thought that I'd climb to the top of the mountain in business, and there's nothing there. It's a lie. We get conned. We get conned thinking that happiness lies in being successful, owning land, owning houses, owning Rolls Royces, having a wife. Being successful in the world, it's rubbish. It doesn't make you happy. We were all conned. The only thing that really, genuinely makes you happy is love. So it's worth going for. Addy, you're back on again. Hello.
Yes, I'm back. Want to ask you about inner knowing. Is inner knowing somehow aligned to desires? If it's your inner knowing, is it aligned to your desires?
Inner knowing is very strange because it doesn't use words, and so there's no desires in it. I discovered inner knowing when I was at school. It's like this, it just knows which way to go. It knows to go left instead of right, but it doesn't say why. It doesn't use rationale. And I used inner knowing when I was in boarding school to avoid trouble. And I'd started listening to it. Rather than trying to rationalize everything, I started to listen to this really soft thing inside of me that knew which way to go. A lot of people think the inner knowing talks, but it doesn't talk. If there's something talking, it's your ego. The other thing is inner knowing never insists on anything. It's always gentle and soft. But it knows which way to go. You have to be quiet to get in touch with it. You can't be noisy because it is so soft. But it knows which way to go. And so my whole life, pretty much as an adult, has been run on inner knowing. My successes in business were probably a result of inner knowing. My successes in higher consciousness were probably a result of inner knowing. Because I'm following that. I'm not following rational thinking. And this is the way of the mystic. It's also the way of the shaman.
So is inner knowing like perceiving it like there's a famous story about Archimedes and Eureka moment. Was that inner knowing?
I don't know. I can't remember the story. I don't remember the Eureka moment. So that helps me relax more and more because I don't want to know. The whole quest for knowing is the quest to control. When you give up the quest for knowing, you give up a lot of control and then you can relax. Our constantly wanting to control everything is stressful.
Yeah, definitely. So you have another question, and that is, how do you know if you're surrendered in hot climate?
In a hot climate? Did you say a hot climate?
Yeah. Like to heat.
Oh, turn the air conditioning on. How do you know you're surrendered? There's nothing to do. It's over. A surrendered mind can rest in beingness quite sweetly. A mind that is not surrendered can rarely rest unless it's very tired.
Does that mean that you don't have any body sensations when you're in heat and you're surrendered? When you're in hot climate and you're surrendered?
Are you talking about me or you? Are you asking about you or me?
Well, about you.
If I turn awareness in on itself, this world doesn't exist anymore. And neither does anything that's happening to the body. There's a saying, a Buddhist saying, gate gate paragate parasamagate, gone, gone, gone beyond. To be out here, in a lot of ways, is quite difficult because the pull inward is always there. And so I come out here to play, to try to help you get free, because I don't really have another reason to be here. There is no other purpose to be here. If I can help you get free, if I can help you find joy, if I can help you become more loving and more kind, I've done everything I need to do. That's it. That's why I'm here. That's my joy. Anything else, Adi?
Thank you.
Thank you. Hello.
We talked about taking sannyas as kind of a second chance, and it made me think about how I've always been quite harsh on myself and expected myself at quite a high level, and not really accepted a second chance if it's come up. I've always beaten myself up thinking that I should have done it the first time correctly.
Right.
And I kind of expect to be told off or expect to be punished for something, and then I don't think that if I've been punished enough by other people, I take it on myself. And I would like to know how I can start loving myself more.
Why don't you start by being kind to you? You see, if you can be kind to you, you're not going to have problems being kind to others. If you can be kind to you, you can even be kind to those who consider you their enemy. But the kindness has to begin inside of you. And what the kindness does is it softens you. You become your own best friend, and best friends don't beat each other up. Currently, you're not your own best friend because you're beating yourself up. That's sad. Be kind to you. Be gentle with you. Be sweet with you. See where that takes you. And you will fail many times, but if you practice being kind with you, it will become a default pattern after a while. The old pattern of beating yourself up will last for a while, but don't entertain it. Be kind with you. Be gentle with you. Ultimately, be loving with you. Because even if you are successful, how happy are you going to be if you got to be successful by beating yourself up?
I feel like I've always found my happiness by making others happy.
Yeah, I think that's the only way to be happy, actually, is to be in service to others.
But putting myself first to a stage where I'm loving myself and then others, do you recommend that? Because I'm still in service, but I'm forgetting the part where I'm servicing myself.
When you actually are kind and gentle and loving with yourself, you put out an energy field that is kind and caring and loving. When you beat yourself up, what sort of energy field do you put out? Yes, that's true. And so our present to whoever we meet is actually our presence. That's our gift to everyone we meet. So what kind of gift do you give when you meet someone? If you're kind and loving and gentle and sweet with yourself, that's what you'll be giving. Okay? Okay. Thank you for satsang. Good to see you brave hearts here tonight.